get in his white Bronco and this recognizable person and go over and kill his wife. That's what they want you to believe. That's how silly their argument is. And I said to myself, maybe I can demonstrate this graphically. I'm going to show you something. This is a knit cap. I'm going to put this knit cap on. And you've been seeing me for a year. If I put this knit cap on, who am I? I'm still Johnny Cochran with a knit cap. And if you look at O.J. Simpson over there, and he has a rather large head, O.J. Simpson in a knit cap from 2 blocks away is still O.J. Simpson. It's no disguise. It's no disguise. It makes no sense. It doesn't fit. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
On the evening of June 12, 1994, a crime occurred in Los Angeles that would ultimately captivate not only the United States, but much of the world. 2 victims, 1 suspect, countless questions, and a trial that many would later call the trial of the century. The murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman shocked a nation already familiar with one of the most recognizable celebrities in America, former football superstar and actor O.J. Simpson. What began as a homicide investigation quickly transformed into a legal battle unlike anything the country had ever seen. Millions of Americans watched every development unfold in real time. Television networks interrupted regular programming. Court proceedings were broadcast into living rooms across the nation. Families debated the case at dinner tables, while co-workers argued over the evidence. More than 3 decades later, the case remains one of the most discussed and controversial criminal investigations in modern history. Before discussing the investigation, it's important to understand who O.J. Simpson was in 1994. Orenthal James Simpson was far more than a former athlete. He was a football legend, television personality, successful actor, and one of the most recognizable public figures in America. To many Americans, Simpson represented success, fame, and achievement. His public image stood in sharp contrast to the allegations that would soon emerge. Because of his celebrity status, the investigation immediately attracted extraordinary media attention. Every development became front-page news, and every decision made by investigators would be scrutinized by millions. Late on the evening of June 12, 1994, Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman were found dead outside Nicole's residence in Los Angeles. The crime scene immediately indicated a violent attack. Investigators began collecting evidence, interviewing witnesses, and attempting to determine who was responsible. As detectives worked through the night, attention soon turned toward Nicole's former husband, O.J. Simpson. The relationship between Nicole and O.J. had been the subject of public attention for years, and investigators examined past incidents, witness statements, and physical evidence collected at the scene. As evidence continued to emerge, law enforcement officials prepared to take the next steps in the investigation. But what happened next would become one of the most famous moments in American criminal justice history. On June 17, 1994, Americans witnessed something unprecedented. Rather than a traditional arrest, the nation watched a slow-speed police pursuit unfold live on television. Driving through Southern California in a white Ford Bronco, Simpson became the focus of one of the most widely viewed police pursuits ever broadcast. News helicopters followed overhead. Television stations carried live coverage. Millions of viewers stopped what they were doing to watch. Sports broadcasts were interrupted. Network schedules changed, and the entire nation seemed frozen in place. The pursuit eventually ended peacefully, but the event transformed the case from a major criminal investigation into a cultural phenomenon. From that moment forward, virtually every aspect of the case would be covered extensively by the media. As prosecutors prepared their case, investigators focused heavily on physical evidence. Among the most significant topics discussed during the trial was DNA evidence. At the time, DNA technology was still relatively new to many Americans. The case became one of the first major criminal trials in which DNA evidence would be explained and debated before a nationwide audience. Prosecutors argued that physical evidence connected Simpson to the crime scene. The defense challenged the collection, handling, and interpretation of that evidence. Questions were raised regarding investigative procedures. Questions were raised about evidence preservation. Questions were raised about potential contamination. As the trial progressed, jurors were presented with competing interpretations of the same evidence. The courtroom increasingly became a battle not only of facts, but also of credibility. The trial highlighted the growing importance of forensic science within criminal investigations and exposed many Americans to complex legal and scientific concepts for the first time. As expert witnesses testified and attorneys challenged each other's arguments, public interest continued to grow. News organizations provided daily updates while legal analysts debated the strengths and weaknesses of the evidence. By the time the trial officially began, the case had already become one of the most closely watched criminal investigations in American history. On October 3, 1995, after nearly 9 months of testimony and fewer than 4 hours of jury deliberation spread over 2 days, one of the most anticipated verdicts in American history was finally delivered. Across the United States, millions of people stopped what they were doing to watch the announcement live. Schools paused classroom instruction. Businesses gathered employees around televisions. News networks carried uninterrupted coverage as the courtroom waited in silence. Then came the verdict.
Murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony upon Nicole Brown Simpson, a human being, as charged in count 1 of the information. Superior Court of the State of California, County of Los Angeles, in the matter of the people of the State of California versus Orenthal James Simpson. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony upon Ronald Lyle Goldman, a human being, as charged in count 2 of the information. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, further find the special circumstance that the defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, has in this case been convicted of at least one crime of murder of the first degree and one or more crimes of murder of the first or second degree to be not true. Signed this second day of October 1995, Juror 230. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is this your verdict? So say you one, so say you all.
All right, counsel, Mr. Simpson, would you be seated, please? Let's have it quiet in the courtroom, please. All right, Mrs. Robertson, would you please poll the jurors?
Poll the jury. Juror number 1, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 2, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 3, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 4, as to count 1, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 5, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Yes. Juror number 6, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Yes. Juror number 7, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 8, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 9, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 10, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 11, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 12, as to count 1, is this your verdict?
O.J. Simpson was found not guilty of the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman. The decision immediately became one of the most controversial moments in American legal history. Inside the courtroom, emotions were visible on every face. Outside, crowds reacted with celebration, disbelief, relief, frustration, and sadness. Television cameras captured dramatically different responses across the country, highlighting how deeply divided public opinion had become. Many people believed the prosecution had failed to prove its case beyond a reasonable doubt, the legal standard required for a criminal conviction. Others believed the evidence presented at trial should have resulted in a guilty verdict and questioned how the jury reached its decision. The case also sparked broader conversations that extended far beyond the courtroom. For many Americans, the verdict became part of a national discussion about race, policing, celebrity, wealth, media influence, and public trust in the criminal justice system. Polls conducted at the time showed notable differences in how various communities viewed both the investigation and the verdict, reflecting long-standing differences in experiences and confidence in the justice system. The trial also demonstrated the power of television. Never before had so many people watched a criminal case unfold day after day. Millions followed witness testimony, legal arguments, and courtroom strategy in real time, making the public feel like participants rather than observers. Legally, the verdict meant that O.J. Simpson could not be tried again in criminal court for the same murders because of the constitutional protection against double jeopardy. However, the legal story did not end there. In 1997, the families of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman filed a civil wrongful death lawsuit. Unlike a criminal trial, a civil case requires a lower standard of proof. A civil jury ultimately found Simpson liable for the deaths and awarded the families more than $33 million in damages. The differing outcomes between the criminal and civil cases became an important lesson in the distinction between criminal and civil law. A person can be acquitted in a criminal trial yet still be held legally responsible in civil court because the burden of proof is different. More than 30 years later, the O.J. Simpson verdict continues to be studied in law schools, discussed in documentaries, and debated by legal experts. It remains a landmark case that reshaped public understanding of forensic evidence, courtroom strategy, media coverage, and the American justice system. Whether viewed as a triumph of the reasonable doubt standard or as one of the most controversial verdicts in modern history, the O.J. Simpson case left a lasting impact on American society. What do you think the verdict meant for the justice system? Did the trial change how the public views high-profile criminal cases today? Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. If you enjoy in-depth true crime investigations, courtroom analysis, and discussions about landmark criminal cases, subscribe to Justice Watch for more weekly content. Observe, reflect, understand.